there were a lot of things I couldn't control. Really, I could not control whether somebody was going to help me out, and that's how I looked at it back then, or couldn't control where I was going to sleep or what I was going to eat or if I was going to eat. But I could control, I'm going to learn something today that makes me better than I was yesterday.
Wow. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Everything that you've been praying for. You feel alone. You're gonna heal and come back strong. I know what you got. God got you. Your girls, we're here. We're with you. This is your battle. I know you're about to come back better. God don't miss. You're ahead. This is it. Come back, sis. I know the whole world told you. Come back, sis. You weren't enough, but you are. Come back, sis. This is your battle. I know you're gonna come back better. God don't miss. You're ahead. This is it. Come back, sis.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, yes, with the babes. I knew you was coming with the babes.
How you
Take me out.
doing? Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good. It's so good to meet you.
You too. And I have a collection of purple babes.
Do you
And
really?
Nike. Yeah. All of my shoes are purple.
So cool.
Yeah.
What are your favorite pair? Is it these?
Yeah, because it's like the first ones I ever got recently, and I recently became a fan, and so they all mean something to me.
Have you ever been to a Babes and Apes store in
I
LA?
have in New York,
In LA, in New York.
but not in LA. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Super cool.
I actually accidentally went to one in New York.
And that's how you found out?
Yes, I had
that's
no idea.
cool.
I'm not hip.
Yes,
at
yes,
all.
you are.
Well, I am now. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not hip at all. Like I'm not trendy, I should say.
Got it.
So I had no idea that Pharrell had this line. I know somebody's gonna come after me,
Yeah.
but I just saw them from a window, like outside of the
No,
store.
it was love at first
And
sight.
I couldn't get an Uber because it was raining so hard. And so I just ducked in the store
Yeah.
and they called to me.
That's hip hop right there.
Yeah, okay.
Those are like a big deal.
Okay.
First thing I noticed, that's terrible, right?
No, it's fine. It's
We're like,
fine.
hey girl, oh sweat. Yeah.
It's fine.
Those are old sweat sneakers. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to hang with us today.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
it means so much. I have so many friends who desire to be in the venture capitalism space, like in desire to be able to invest in somebody else, who have this desire. And the biggest question I hear with people who want to start up in that space is, how much money do I need to start with? What's the question that you hear often from beginners who dream to be in that space?
You know, I hear a lot more from founders who dream to have my money, like to take, get invested in.
Got it.
So there are a few who want to be VCs. We call them VCs, venture capitalists.
Yeah.
They ask like, how long does it take? How much should I have? What should I know ahead of time? But I don't think anyone quite understands how difficult it is. That's my phone going off.
Of course, because they want your money now.
Ooh, I try, yes, on cue. I don't think they quite understand how difficult it is to raise a fund, a venture fund. But what I say to people is the flex to me is being an angel investor.
Of course, I like that.
That's it. Like some people see like the big numbers, millions of dollars in a fund, or they see different athletes or different celebrities who have big venture funds, but there's a lot of responsibility there with that type of money. So, and there's also a lot of people you're beholden to. If you're an angel investor, that's your money. And the wonderful thing about it is you do not have to be rich to be an angel investor.
I've heard people give like $10,000 to a startup business or something like that.
And it can even be less than that. It can even be less than that, but you can. What I would just recommend is that you study.
Got it.
You study because you don't want to lose a ton of money on this. This is not a get rich overnight scheme. This is none of that. It's a long play. It takes years and years to develop it, and you do it for different reasons. But you also, it can be so fulfilling. You don't want to lose or give away too much money up front. So studying it, and when you study it, what you'll get to learn is, I can put $500 behind a company on a Reg CF, Regulation Crowdfund site.
Tell us again on a...
It's called Reg CF. I was giving an example. Yeah. So Reg CF is Regulation Crowdfund.
Got it.
It's something that Obama actually helped make happen. His administration helped make it possible for retail investors, anybody who is not what they call accredited, I'll talk about that in a second, but to help them and us invest in all types of companies, right? Because right now, you can go to the casino, go to the boat, right? From the South, we're from the South. Go to the boat and put down $1,000 and lose it in 2 minutes, less than that. You are allowed to do that as an adult. But you are not allowed, if you make less than $200,000 a year, to invest in most private companies.
Wow.
Because of the SEC regulations. You have to be what is called accredited. And this, to me, is an arbitrary number. $200,000 a year by yourself or $300,000 with your spouse. Or have $1 million net worth without your home. So these things, they were put in place supposedly to protect us. But to me, it's a red line, right? It's just stopping certain people. Because how do you all of a sudden become a genius at investing because you make $201,000?
Oh, how do you become a genius at investing because you make 200? I love that question.
So to me, it is, and to a lot of people, it's meant to make wealthy people stay wealthy.
Yeah.
And keep people at bay. Because investing in entrepreneurs and investing in innovation can be lucrative and can be fulfilling. So what Obama's administration did was they made it possible for anybody, regardless of their income, to invest in certain companies on a regulation crowdfund campaigns. So something like a Republic website or a WeFunder website. There are plenty of them. I won't shout any of them particularly out, but you can go and definitely do research. There's some amazing ones. It's kind of like Kickstarter or GoFundMe, but you get something in return, like you have a bit of ownership in the company. So if anybody is used to doing stock trades and buying stocks, it's like that, but those are public companies.
Got it.
So we're talking private companies. You can now do this. And again, it's a long game. It's not exactly the same as doing stocks, because if I buy a stock today and I want to sell it tomorrow, I can.
Yeah.
If you invest in a private company on a Reg CF, it's held. They hold it. The company holds it for years and years until something happens, like an exit happens.
Got it. How do you choose who to invest in? Like, was there a criteria?
Yeah, so I've been in investing for about a decade, a little less than that, but I've been working on Backstage for maybe 12 years. And it changes a little bit over time, but ultimately it's the same. Ultimately at its core, for me personally, it is a gut feeling. It is, what have you done with what you have?
Wow.
That's the big thing to me, because I invest in women across the board, regardless of race. I invest in people of color, regardless of gender. And then I invest in LGBTQ plus people. And we, for so long, have had to figure out how to do so much with so little. My thesis in 2014 and 15, when I was homeless, was, what if we had more? If we've done so much with so little, what happens if you give us more?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you see people.
Wow. I'm sorry. I got to pause right there. That's so good. Yeah. If we've done so much with pig feet and made it into a Sunday dinner, what would happen if we had the whole Foods?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Because, I grew up around people like my mother who didn't look like, when you Google, I don't know if it's still true today, but when I Googled a few years ago, CEO, all that came up were white men. And that's not what's true, but that's even in the algorithm.
Yeah.
But I grew up with people who may not be the algorithm necessarily, but who proved that they were that had ingenuity, proved that they can make something happen. And those were the CEOs to me.
Yeah.
The CEOs of their lives. Those are the people, mothers figuring out how to make ends meet. Go to grocery store with a mom who has a certain budget and certain number of mouths to feed. You can't tell me that some guy who just rolled out of Stanford with an MBA can beat her in a head-to-head match when it comes to business. You cannot tell me that, because I've met them. I've worked with some of the richest people in this country and some of the so-called smartest people in this country. There have not met one white man who is smarter than the smartest Black woman I've met. Hasn't happened yet.
Wow.
And maybe it will, but it hasn't happened in 43 years.
Yeah. I like this idea of resources, what to do with resources, and choosing people based on how they steward their resources. I think that's such a real, I mean, I don't know if everybody has said that, and that's like a fact that you just brought to me that you've heard 100 times, but I haven't heard it put like that. Who do I invest in? Somebody who invests in themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Because I was the case study.
Okay.
You right? So I'm the one sleeping on the floor of the San Francisco airport 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Homeless off and on. And at the same time saying, this is what I want to do. I want to invest in us. I want to see more of us with a chance, etc.
While sleeping?
Uh-huh.
So this is a dream of yours come true?
It's a calling come true.
Wow.
I've had dreams in the past.
I'm done. What you about to say? I've had dreams, honey.
I know I've had dreams. And you know how you have dreams?
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick example because you're giving me her vibes. Janet Jackson is my hero, right? So I saw Janet. It was my very first concert ever. I saw her at 13. And my mom could only afford one ticket, so I was by myself. It was a whole thing, there's a whole story to it. But I ended up in the front row. Wow. Because she had somebody come and bring some people to the front row. And that night, my whole life changed. And that night, my dream became, I want to work in live music. And so I've had dreams, which came true, by the way. We have worked together.
When do we work together?
Sunday Best, Leandria's.
Oh, wow.
So I was a production assistant and talent wrangler.
Wow.
And you came up, you walked up, and I remember, are you vegan?
Sometimes.
Yes. So I remember that was one of the things we needed to make sure you had vegan selections. And I took you to hair and makeup and wardrobe, and I was your wrangler.
Wow.
That was 2013, I want to say.
Full circle.
I was your wrangler. And you know what? Here's the thing I want people to pick up on. So I was in New Orleans, and I had a real tough time during that time. I was addicted to alcohol, which I'm not anymore. I was broke. I was making it right because I was working, but I was like, it was day to day. I was figuring it out. And it was a wonderful experience to work on that show, but I was really having a tough time living-wise.
Yeah.
But I showed up every single day. And my thing was, no matter what my role is, I'm going to be the best at it. You won't be able to deny me in this role. So I was the best talent wrangler. I was the best production assistant. And I think that's why I'm here.
Wow.
I think that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because you can't wait to become the best at something.
Yeah.
If you're not the best at what you do today, you're not going to magically become the best when you get some sort of resources.
This is the second time I've heard somebody explain it, not the same verbiage. It's be the best down here so that when you get up there, you don't have to practice being the best.
Yes. It's so true.
That.
It's so true. I can look back and say, if I had, there's just no way, you know, I talk about this a little bit where, you know, I was at the Comedy Store in LA a few weeks ago, and I was outside, and there was a little thing sticking out of a car that was like hitting people as they walked by. It was like this sharp thing. And I went up to the guy who was outside the door, and I said, hey, there's this object that keeps hitting people that are not going in. They're not your customers, but they're outside your, you know,
establishment.
It's your establishment. It's your brand. And he said, he was a young guy, and he said, it's not my job, not my problem. And so what I said to that was, not to him, but I said it to my audience, was he doesn't know that if he had done something about it, he might, the least what would have happened is he would have gotten the tip of his life. The medium would have been, oh, you make stuff happen. I know somebody who needs a PA. I know somebody who needs an assistant. I know somebody who needs somebody to work their door at an event. You know, you put yourself in situations by being great. You and doing it not just when you think somebody's the right person is watching. The right person's watching.
Oh my God, that's so good. You're on the front cover of Black Enterprise magazine.
Yes, I am.
That's so cool. And I love what it says underneath your name is that you want to make 1,000 millionaires.
That's right.
Talk to me about that.
So people have different opinions of billionaires. I know a couple. Some are cool, some are not. Like I know Mark Cuban, I think he's really cool. Like to my opinion, right? I think he's a really cool person. But a lot of times all that concerted wealth is not the best, in my opinion. It's not that the people are necessarily evil, but that kind of money can, you know, it's in the hands of one person. Why? Why?
No one man should have all this power.
Yes, exactly. So if 1,000 million is a billion, which I still can't wrap my head around a little bit, right? But 1,000 million is $1 billion. I said, what if the same one billionaire, the amount was spread across 1,000 people? Wouldn't that mean conceivably that the power structure would be different, that influence would be different, that quality of life could be heightened because you have 1,000 people with an opinion, 1,000 people with their own audience and their own stakeholders, their families, especially. What would that look like? So instead, there, I think UBS said there's going to be 87 million millionaires in the world, and by 2027, that's a lot of millionaires.
Yeah,
that's a lot
87
million
millionaires.
87 million millionaires.
Yeah,
that's a lot of millionaires, and we, Black people, women, etc., we need to be representative there.
Yeah.
It cannot be the same. So Black Enterprise actually said, I said 1,000 Black millionaires. I actually didn't say that, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
We can do that too. I just said millionaires who represent the country. Like, let's just have, and we can get there. Because like I said, I used to be homeless and now I'm a millionaire. I know that there are steps to it.
You said there's that whole idea of making your first million. People say if you could, yes, your book too. I love it.
Your first billion.
So super cool.
Thank
Congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way. This is not a small feat.
Thank you.
Putting the information together and deciding what goes in there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I threw you off your question though.
Oh, no, because one of my favorite thoughts is how to know how to make $20. Know how to make $70. And my philosophy is if you can make $90, you can make $900.
Correct.
It's just a rinse and repeat.
Correct.
Tell me how that is. How do you make your first million?
So 6 figures in a day. Yes, it's here, right? Now, this is a real live screenshot that I personally did in my account. Now, I do this live with my people meaning in my Discord that I have. And guess what? I'm not the only one making this type of money. As you see, there are people making 2, 3, 4, 500% with me, right? And what I want you to know is that this is not something that is foreign. It can be done and replicated, not just by me or a couple of people who know what I know. I can teach it to you. So, you want to learn what we know? You want to do what we do? I do this live. So I can't even fake it. I do it live every day that the market is open. Come join me. I got you.
Yeah, well, it's different for different people, right? But there are some fundamental steps to it. That's what I talk about in the book. But what I've learned is that it can be taught. I've learned 3 things.
Pay attention.
I've learned 3 things by not only my story, but I have interviewed hundreds of millionaires and some billionaires over the past decade and worked with. So what I have learned is that anybody, 99.9% of people can be millionaires in this world where we live today.
Got it.
And that's important. That's why I put it at number 1, because it's a mindset shift. Most people do not believe it. Like if I'm speaking at a large event and I ask people to raise their hand if they think they can be a millionaire, most people don't put their hands up if I'm talking to an audience of BIPOC or women. They really don't. So if they don't even believe it, then of course, how can I help you? How can I get you started if you don't even believe it's true, it's possible? So 99.9% of people can be. Then I learned something from Dr. Pamela Jolly, who is an expert on Black economy and wealth. She said a lot of things on my first episode of Your First Million, the podcast. But the one thing she said was that I kept with me for the rest of my life is that rich people and wealthy people own things and collaborate. Wow. So like that's how I felt. Yeah. She said all kinds of stuff. She talked about Black people being the first wealth because we came here on the balance sheet of America. I know, I was out my chair. I couldn't.
Everybody go home now. Drop the mic.
I said, so I was just learning. I was just like, So when she said that rich people own things and collaborate, if you think about that, you always see like pictures of, and especially like older wealthy men, they're tapping glasses and they're building. it is that it's not crabs in the bucket. They may have other people left out, but they're not going to leave each other out.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. And then they own things. So it's about IP and assets, and that's why where entrepreneurship comes into play. And then the third thing is that it can be taught. I have been in a situation so many times where I had to ask people for something. It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts the soul when you're asking for money and it's a peer or, something like that. I know that feeling in my heart. And I also know the power people have in denying you. And there's different ways to deny somebody.
Yeah.
And sometimes you ask for something and you can get kind of your soul crushed with the response, or you can get kind of like, oh, that was actually a really nice way of saying no. That was actually a nice way of letting me down easy. And that's kind of, if I feel like if you can wrap that in education and inspiration, then that goes towards it.
Where did your favorite yeses come from? Like, remember some of the times where you heard yes. When were those moments?
So I talk about being somebody's first yes.
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
I didn't know that.
Oh, no, I do talk about being someone's first yes, because there have been many along the way, but there's a woman named Susan she was the first investor in Backstage Capital, my venture fund. And you got to understand, back then, it was 2015. I'd actually just been on tour with Floetry in Janine. But then I was broke again. And so I ended up, but even before that, I was at the airport. And then after that, I was at the airport. It's a whole thing. But I was on the floor of the airport. I didn't know what I was going to eat every day. I was still an alcoholic. So I was dealing with that battle too. While being homeless is not easy. And I feel for everybody going through that. And this is someone I met in a workshop that I had gotten myself into. And she's wealthy, but I was able to teach her some things about angel investing. Because even back then I had studied so much. Oh, I'm going to say something. Okay, I'm trying not to go off topic.
It's okay, I'll remember.
But so you know how money attracts money?
Tell me about it.
What I'm saying, money attracts money, right? But then somebody says, what if you don't have money? I say, become money.
You have value.
Become money, and then you can attract money. So becoming money is having the education that you can get on a day-to-day basis, whether you have money or not. That's what I did. So I had all this information while I was homeless. So when I met this person and she needed education, but she had money, I was able to teach her, and then she gave me money. So that's what happened. She invested $25,000 into me to set up shop, and then another $25,000 for me to invest in somebody, because I was a venture fund. So that set me up, and then I took that, and then step by step, I kept getting, and now I've raised $30 million or so, and I've invested in 200 companies.
From $25,000 and $25,000.
And the day before she did that, I was sleeping on the floor of the San Francisco airport.
You gotta be kidding me. So,
because I was ready.
You're taking me out. You're taking me out. Because there's somebody, I'm sorry, I need a pause.
You okay?
That is a story and a half. And there's somebody listening right now that is not where they want to be.
That's right.
They're looking around saying, I've got maybe an addiction. I've got no place to go. I don't have anybody who's got my back, but I am ready for what's about to come my way. Every single day I'm opening up my eyes and just, were you looking around saying, where's the opportunity going to come from? Like, how does that go?
Yeah. You know how they say, stay ready, don't have to get ready?
Yeah.
That was me. That was the embodiment of that. And what that meant was, like I said before, there was a lot of things I couldn't control. Really. I could not control whether somebody was going to help me out. And that's how I looked at it back then. Or couldn't control where I was going to sleep or what I was going to eat or if I was going to eat. But I could control, I'm going to learn something today that makes me better than I was yesterday. Wow. That was what I had. And I thought about that. So every time I say that, I think about a very specific place I was when I had that moment in that time. It's like, every day I'm going to just learn more so that I'm building the bank.
I'm so thankful that you're so vulnerable and honest about where you've come from, where you are now. Because people, what do they call it? People gatekeep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they call me a key maker.
They call
me a key maker.
A key maker.
Not a gatekeeper.
Because you open up the doors.
I make keys to doors.
And let people in. Yeah. How does that feel for you?
Amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
I know what it was. The
What,
first
what?
yes. That's what we're talking about.
When did you get your first
So
yes?
she said she was my first yes. She said, I don't know what you're going to do, but I know you're going to do something. And that is the spirit that I go, same way I give tickets to Janet front row
Yeah.
to people randomly today.
Do you really?
I sure do.
Oh, that's such a full circle moment.
Yeah, I do that. I do that all the time. And that's like the best, because you asked me how it felt to have the yes. So to that same, I don't know what you're going to do, but I feel something. There's something in you. I want you to do it. I do that. I call it catalyzing. So I help catalyze somebody every single day. But with the Janet tickets, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something. I think I don't want to take you out again, but
I'm so fascinated. Is this the heart of a giver?
Oh, thank you.
It's like you're describing how somebody else who's a giver feels, and they're like, you called it a call. It's like somebody else wants to give,
yeah,
but they don't know if it's okay to have that type of a heart.
Yeah,
right.
Because when you don't have a lot, it feels really dangerous to give. It's risky to give because you're like, I barely have anything of my own. But if you open up that's what that abundance mindset is all about. It's an abundance of like, there's enough for all of us. So I do not have to be over here. Because if you're over here holding it to yourself in the corner, you have your back turned to opportunity.
Wow.
You're facing the corner, holding, your back is turned to all the abundance behind you.
Do you say that in here?
I say a lot in there, but I don't know.
Wow. I'm sorry.
No, you.
People don't bring me books and put it in front of me because I'm going to read it right while you're sitting there. Bootstrapping makes it easier. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're turned to the corner with your things in your hand and your back is to the opportunity.
And I understand that feeling because I recently, was part of that. But you have to find a way. It's a big mindset shift. And some people think that's just so soft. And it's like, oh no, but tell me, how do I make $500 right now? And they don't want to hear me when I say, I can tell you that, but you first have to have a mindset shift. There is no skipping that part.
Got it.
There is no skipping that part. And if you want to skip that part, you are only looking for something that's pie in the sky.
Got it.
You're going after you're spending years on get rich overnight schemes. And how many nights has that been?
I'm done with you.
Right? You have to shift it.
Sis, how long you been saying it's gonna be tomorrow? I'm sorry, that's not funny, but it was funny to me. Oh my goodness.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
It's true. But because you think about your own career, how many years would you say you've been a professional artist?
18, but I thought I was one when I was a kid, but 18.
Yeah, 18 years. Nothing spectacular happens overnight. And if it does happen overnight, it's like a shooting star that's so fleeting, it's not worth it.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah. So your career, you can walk in, this is my opinion, you can walk into any stage, any room of other artists or entertainers, and you have that respect of the room. That's different than somebody trying to get like a track to pick up 10 million streams in a day on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing. So many people get really successful really fast and then they have nothing to show for it. And people are at home right now trying to emulate them because that feels like that's the solution to my problem. People are looking for temporary solutions and creating permanent problems for themselves.
They're looking for a temporary solution and creating a permanent problem because you didn't realize you was going to have to pay this much on your taxes.
Well, I'll give you a great example. When 2013, this would have been, I can't remember if it would have been before or after I met you. Probably
right after.
Yeah, probably after. I was living in Portland and I was broke. This is most of my life, been broke. And I was desperate. So there was this long story short, there was a person in Europe who was willing to, I think it was $7,000. He was like an investor. And he was going to give me $7,000 in exchange for like a piece. I think I suggested it, like a piece of my future income because I was so desperate. And $7,000 was everything. That was more than I ever seen all at once. And he was going to do it. And I was like, cool. And so I called this Black woman director who I had met as a PA. And her name is Angela Robinson. I haven't spoken to her since, and I want to shout her out. She's an incredible talent. And I called her to either get her advice or ask her if she wanted to also do this, invest. And she said, no, I will not. She said, do you understand how successful you are going to be? Do you understand how much you're selling right now? And so I didn't do it because and let me tell you, if I had done what that suggestion was that I think I brought up, I would owe him hundreds of thousands of dollars for the tiniest percent of for the $7,000. Because here we are. Stay hungry, not thirsty.
Oops. Stay hungry, not thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
And these are
desperate.
colloquialisms because when we talk about thirstiness, what does that look like?
Desperation.
That's
what I see a lot of in entrepreneurs. And that's no shade. I'm trying to help. So I'm just letting you know, I'm putting a mirror there. Yeah. But I see a lot of desperation off of people.
Yeah.
And the thing that hits my ear the worst is when somebody says, you're my one shot. You got to listen to me, sis, you're my one shot. At an airport or chasing me down somewhere or calling me or whatever, you're my one shot. And I'm like, then you're in the wrong business. Something's wrong if I'm your one shot. Mm-hmm. Nobody should have that power, right? There can't be a situation where you only have one shot at something. I know that's
pressure does that put on you?
A lot. Mm-hmm. I think it puts a lot of pressure on me. I mean, I'm very good with boundaries these days. Awesome. I got pretty grown recently, so I'm really good at boundaries. But I will say that it's definitely it's the wrong kind of pressure to put on me, I would say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do, because there are people who reach out to me and they'll tell me some stories and they need help, right? They need financial help in the moment, but they kind of, it's hard. Like they'll say some stuff that's going on to them right in the moment. And it's like, it's not my job to fix that. Mm. Again, I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I understand it. But if you want long-term sustainable success, don't walk into an investor meeting or any kind of opportunity meeting desperate, putting it all on the line.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
That's so good. I see it all the time. And even in the artist space, people are like, you could sign me or we could do this together. Or if you write this, if you sing my song, then. And it's like, bro, first of all, I don't even know if I like the song yet. Mm-hmm. How much you charge to put a hook on my record? I didn't even hear the song yet. Like, when is it about the craft? Yeah. When is it about your calling? When is it about what you have to offer? When can I look at who you are and say, that's dope?
Mm-hmm. Let me find you.
Let me be so excited about you already.
That's it. Because I say, people say, how do I get people to invest in me? I say, be so good, be so great that you're undeniable.
Oh,
like just
hip hop. That's hip hop,
right?
Be so great, you're undeniable.
Yes. And who is it? Mark Cuban. Mm-hmm. So I work with Mark. We have a joint venture, and I'm from Dallas, so that means a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I heard him on an interview recently, and he said, and I know this to be true. Mm-hmm. He said, if I know that you need help, I'm going to help you. But if you ask me for help, I'm not going to help you necessarily, because he's like, if you're not close enough to me for me to know that you need help, then that's not your money.
Right? This is helping.
Yeah, I hope
I'm so thankful for this. That is such a pressure point of mine. And I'm not by any means, this big rich person, but a pressure point is, why do you think you're entitled to what I have?
Ooh, I said that to myself all the time. I'll look at my phone or I'll look at a DM from someone else. And I don't remember giving birth to you.
You know you're a comedian, right? Because you don't laugh at your own jokes and it's not fair. I don't remember that's how you feel. Mm-hmm. And do people realize they're putting that kind of pressure on you?
Yeah, I don't think they do. And it sounds like you get a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're human and you're caring, so you feel for them. But it is simply not one person's role to take that on. And I think people get really myopic in their thoughts when they are feeling desperation. Mm-hmm. And I think that one way that you can take some of that desperation away from yourself is to redefine what success is to you. Because, for instance, right now, somebody thinks that they're supposed to raise $1 million. They just think that's what I'm supposed to do because the other person did it. I saw it on TechCrunch, or I saw it on Essence, or I saw it somewhere.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get $1 million contract. But they're not thinking through what that $1 million really means and what that, because I mean, how could you really, right? But if you redefine what success is and forget about what people are going to think of you, what other people say, what your Instagram feed looks like, if you take that away and you say, what would make me actually happy right now? Usually it's a lot lower number, whatever the number is, right? Could be 10 million to you and maybe it's lower, but it's a lot lower number of what you actually need in your life to have the quality of life that you want. And so what you've done is imagine if that number, if you think you're supposed to raise, for instance, for a company, $1 million, but you realize some things you can learn on your own, some things you can barter, some things you don't really need, you can do a different version of it until you get more traction. Imagine if that $1 million is really, I really just need like $50,000 in cash. Then what has happened? Just helped you save $950,000. I'm better than Gecko.
Yeah.
Like,
and it helps somebody else save $950,000.
Yes. Because you are the one putting that pressure on yourself in a lot of cases.
Yeah. I did that number once. And I said, Mom, when I really think about it, because my whole jam was like tiny houses, right?
Okay.
If I really think about it, I actually only need $38,000 a year to be happy.
Whoa,
it's
that's
crazy.
Amazing. And then how different is your life when you feel that?
Simple. I can garden. I can play in flowers. I don't have all these crazy responsibilities.
Yeah.
All my plates are one color.
Yes. And don't you answer people in different ways? Like when someone says, if a record, I don't know anything about the business part of what you do, but like when someone says we need a record out or we need something out, we need a hit, we need this, you got to dance for me. You don't have to, you can dance to your own beat.
Sis.
Right?
Because I'm playing now. I wonder if people are playing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like you have to laugh at your life and be like, how can I like what I'm seeing? Yeah. How can I color this just a little bit and then I don't need so much because I can just paint it pink. I don't have a lot, but I can paint it pink. I don't have everything that everybody else says I have to have. I was thinking about the size of a tiny house is only however many feet. Yes. The bathtub is only big enough to fit around your little body. It's measured to you. But by the time you finish the tiny house, it's who you are. Yeah. Do you have a tiny house? I want one. You should not only have one, I think you should have a show about how they have the different tiny house shows. Have you ever wanted to do a show like that? I have. I watch them on YouTube all the time. Would you do one? I would totally do it. Really? Yeah. Oh, I know, let's figure that designers. Let's figure that out. I would love to. I would love to. I do a little producing. Oh, there it is. I've had so much fun with you today. Too. I would be jumping up and down, but you're so chill. Oh, okay. It was your sneakers that I was like, okay, I'm going to be fine. Because you're a big deal. Okay. Do you know that? You know that. A big deal? No, I don't think I'm a big deal. I think you're a huge deal. Thank you. I can't believe you're here. You're in the front cover of Black Enterprise magazine. Like, that's huge. And people are looking to you for so much of what they want and so much of what they need. And then sometimes, even when you're excited like me, I wouldn't say it's a desperation that you feel, but it's like an admiration. It's like she's brave. Yeah. I don't mind passion. I love passion. That's what got me here, and that's what I look for in other people. That's one of the other things I look for in entrepreneurs. Intuition, stewardship, and passion. You'd make a great investor. Yeah. Yeah, because there's a heart to investing that a lot of people don't have. And I think that's the secret ingredient to being a great investor. So I hope that you're able to look at certain people, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It could be an investment of you shouting them out. That could be your portfolio. You're so giving. Oh, obviously. Thank you. Yeah. This was I don't want to be rude, but this was one of my favorite interviews. Oh, thank you. Y'all hear that? Yeah. Everybody got that? It's just so fulfilling. Your presence is giving.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I have. It's taken a lot for me not to start singing your songs.
Oh.
It's taken a lot. It's playing in my head.
Which one? I'll
I've
sing
had
you
a few
one.
epiphanies along the way, if you
So
will.
I think I'm just about over being your girlfriend.
Yes.
Just for you. Thank you so much for being here. I had so much fun. Your first million in stores now. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Arlan.
Thank you.
so much.
This is the moment you've been waiting